Dominick wanted me to see that the real him belonged in an adult bookstore. How appropriate. However, I didn't need to see Sex in the Big Apple gift box full of sex toys to tell me Dominick was a man about town, so to speak. Hey y'all, Cayce Poponea here, and welcome back to my channel. We're going to go behind the scenes of another one of my books. But before we get into that, if you could like and subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does mean the world to me. Stolen Secrets is book 3 in my Code of Silence series. It is the story of Arianna Covington and Dominick Santos. It begins in New Orleans, where Miss Arianna is trying desperately to start a new life. However, the demons from her past life won't let her go. This is not a paranormal. I know that I just made it sound that way, but it's not. It is very much a Mafia romance. And while it begins in New Orleans, because of Arianna's choices, we do travel to New York, where the story plays out. So why New Orleans? Well, it's a very interesting story. I have a very dear friend by the name of Faith. Hey, Faith, miss you. Who lived in New Orleans and had celebrated many Mardi Gras. We were sitting down one day and talking about some funny things that happened during one of the parades. And the more I listened to her tell the story of her adventure during this parade, the more Stolen Secrets began to form. In the story, Arianna is trying to create a new life after experiencing a tragedy. While the story does begin in New Orleans, there is a transition to New York City, and it's really kind of cute how Arianna chose New York and how she got there. And I will be honest with you, I chose the exact same method she did for what city, or rather what borough in New York City the story takes place in. In Stolen Secrets, we have Arianna Covington, as I mentioned earlier, and Dominick Santos. And while I've told you a little bit about Arianna, that she's quite strong, very strong personality, she's hiding. She is essentially hiding in New York. And I won't go into why, because that's part of the depth of the story, and I want you to discover that for yourself. It won't take much. It's in the first couple of chapters. But anyway, as strong as Arianna is, and for as much as she shoves Dominick away, and she shoves him hard, y'all, she wants nothing to do with him. She simply wants to stand back and live a quiet life. That's all she wants. Dominick is not quiet. Dominick is bold, and he's arrogant, and he's handsome. I'm going to give him that. He's handsome. He's also determined, very determined. Now, as cliche as this is going to sound, Dominick does have some motivation, so to speak, to be with Arianna. Now, that's not to say that she's the last resort, because she's not. He has multitudes of women. He has daughters of his inner circle. He has many, many women who would have zero issues joining the ranks, so to speak, and being his wife. But he finds fault in every single one of them, and with good reason. There are, and I do go into the reason behind why he detests every single one of them, when he's not screwing them, of course. And he is a major player. He does have the defiance where he's ready to defy not only his father for even saying you must marry in order to take over the family. He's wants nothing to do with it. And I know that's cliche. I know it's been presented in more Mafia books that are out there. But for me, it worked. For me, I was willing to risk being cliche in this because of my end game, because of the reason why he needed to, and why he found her, why he was willing to say, okay, I'll listen to you, Dad. I'll listen to you. I will do as you ask, because I love her. And for him, it's love at first sight. Done. Over. For her, no. Oh no. My Ari don't play like that. My Ari is not one of his inner circle. She wants nothing to do with the circle. Again, she wants to live her life quietly. Doesn't happen, but. So the naming of the characters for Stolen Secrets, and I would love for there to be this amazing story and, you know, how this revelation that comes, and it's just not there. I'm sorry to disappoint on this one. Both of these names, majority of the names from this particular book came from a Google search. I wanted names that I could shorten. Arianna, you can get many possibilities out of that one. Same thing with Dominick. You can pull many. And it was really important for Dominick because he's in the position to be a mafia boss. And he needed to have a name he could give to Ari, one that he gave to everyone else, and so that there was no question of his power. And then maybe, you know, a different version for his mother or, you know, the super important people in his life. Ari hid behind her name. You will notice that in the book. Changes a little bit, and hopefully it doesn't confuse anybody. I tried really hard not to have explanations of what was going on, but yeah, that's Google search. Sorry. Wish it was something great. So, favorite character in Stolen Secrets. And I know many of you who have read it are going to say, oh, Arianna, because she was so strong and she stood up against Dominick. And you'd be wrong. Although Arianna was a strong character who, yes, she did stand up to Dominick and denied him and totally sent that poor boy into a tailspin with the way that she treated him. My favorite character, and wasn't Gabby either. I'm sure some of you probably thought that one as well. No, although Gabby is a strong person and she was Arianna's best friend for the majority of the book, it is Marissa. Go ahead, gasp. Go ahead, gasp. Marissa knew who she was. There was no questioning. She knew who she was and where she stood in Dominick's life. She didn't ask for more because she knew that he couldn't give it. And yet she was willing to be there with him, do what he needed her to do, and even threaten her own existence by coming out doing what she did at his birthday party. She risked a lot at the hands of the men in his inner circle. She could have, you know, it could have turned out much worse than it did. And again, I'm not giving this away. I know some of you who have not read this book are like, oh my God, what? Read the book. Read the book. I promise you. You will absolutely enjoy it. So yeah, my favorite character, absolutely hands down, was Marissa, just because of the person that she was, the person I created. And at first, I'll be honest with you, at first I wanted to hate her. I wanted to hate anybody who was going to cause that much turmoil. But no, I ended up loving her, absolutely loving her. And I know you will too. All right. So Stolen Secrets. My favorite scenes or my favorite chapters. There's actually two. One, my top one, I'm not going to reveal because it reveals so much about the book. However, once you read it, and it's the cemetery scene. And for those of you who have read this book, you understand what I'm saying. It was just, oh my gosh, my heart's pounding just thinking about it. So my second favorite scene in this book is when Dominick has decided that he wants Ari to know about him. And so he sends her, I'll preface a little bit more because it's really funny. The scene is really funny. Dominick is, for lack of better terms, a man whore. Yes, he's in the position to take over as the Santos family leader, and he has never had to answer to anybody, so to speak. Women are a commodity for him, and so he's probably slept, according to Ari at least, he's probably slept with half the population of New York City. And so, again, he's decided that he's going to he's going to not only get to know her better, but he wants her to know the real him. So anyway, this is chapter 9. I'm sorry, but it's funny, and it I don't know where I came up with this. I'll be honest. This one, I surprised even myself with this one. Ari, I want you to see the real me. Dominick. The card was computer generated. Sophia and I agreed cards like this one, which resided between my thumb and index finger, were not something which showed heart. Every card that went out of this shop was handwritten on scented stationery. Dominick wanted me to see that the real him belonged in an adult bookstore. How appropriate. However, I didn't need to see Sex in the Big Apple gift basket full of sex toys to tell me Dominick was a man about town. The handcuffs and whips glistened in the overhead lights. Multitudes of DVD cases highlighted just about every sexual appetite out there, not to mention the amount of lotions and toys sitting proudly along the rim of the bamboo weave. Please tell me that is not from my son. Sophia and Gabby both had horrified looks on their faces the second the delivery guy placed the ostentatious-looking article on the counter. The second I unwrapped the bow, the ghastly smell of expired potpourri filled the room. I quickly closed the wrapping as fast as I could. Afraid so, I cringed and shoved the basket away. The smell was beginning to sting the inside of my nose. Sophia was white as a sheet as she took the basket to the back of the shop. Gabby was trying, and failing, to keep her laughter inside. Please, Gabby, don't break something. Let it out. Not even the second passed before Gabby was on the floor, her face nearly purple with her laughter. Sophia was on her phone, speaking in what I thought was Italian, while I was on the verge of tears. I couldn't understand why he felt the need to send such a gift, which boldly said he wanted to screw me in every hotel in New York. The fact that he knew his mother would see a thing after I'd made it perfectly clear I'd wanted nothing to do with him bothered me as well. There were cock rings, Antonio, Sophia shouted into the phone in perfect English. She was angry. There was no mistaking it, and I was holding on by a thread. Fine, I love you too. Sniffles caused by angry tears could be heard over the hum of the cooler. Glancing at my watch, I closed my eyes when I noticed I had hours left before closing, most of the day remaining in which to live this humiliation. What had I done to him to make him hate me so much? It was obvious he wasn't lacking in female attention. He had a fucking girlfriend, for Christ's sake. It was clear to me now he had no boundaries when it came to relationships. He would be shit out of luck when he discovered I was not one of those girls who tossed off her clothes and jumped on his dick. Again, Arianna is a very strong girl. She's got a ton of demons. She's running from her secrets that she keeps. And these secrets aren't hers. And I think that goes right along with the title that I chose, The Stolen Secrets, because they were not her secrets to keep. And yet she did for a very long time. And it's that scene, that second scene, or the number one scene that I have when everything kind of comes to light. This particular story has more twists than a spring tornado. There are more revelations and more moments than I've ever made before in any other book. So when you grab this book, you need to hold on tight, because nothing, and I repeat, nothing is as it appears. He's got as many demons as she does, and there are a lot of secrets in this particular book that are going to be revealed. And trust me when I say there are some moments when you are going to gasp so loud that it may scare somebody sitting beside you. That's how many twists there are. Just tons. I love it. Love it. And that is Stolen Secrets. I do hope that you pick this one up if you haven't already. It's available on all the retailers. Again, there are plenty of plot twists. You are not going to be bored with this one. It's intrigue, and it's amazing. It's one of my favorites. I always say that, but truly is one of my favorites. If you like Mafia romance, you're going to love my Dominick. If you love girls who are strong within themselves, you're going to love my Ari. It has something for everybody. I want to say thank you for joining me today. I know you have a million things that are going on in your world, and I'm so honored that you made me one of them. Next week, another book. And until I see you again, have a good one.